Cancer, April brings a dynamic into your life that may feel unfamiliar at first. You are someone who likes to process situations, who has a natural sense for how things develop, and who takes time before reacting. And this exact pace is now being challenged. The reason lies in the strong Aries emphasis. Several planets gather there, bringing an energy that is direct, fast, and not very compromising. This energy is not only external, it also moves within you. You notice more quickly when something doesn't feel right, and at the same time, an inner pressure builds to no longer postpone things. In everyday life, this often shows up subtly, but clearly. You have less patience for situations that go in circles. Conversations without a clear direction tire you more quickly. At the same time, you become more sensitive to what is happening beneath the surface. You notice faster when something remains unspoken. This leads you to look more closely, and that is where the shift begins. In love, this dynamic becomes especially noticeable. If you are in a relationship, you quickly sense where you truly stand. It is less about major conflicts and more about clarity. Things that have been present between you for a long time move more strongly into focus. Conversations become more direct, even if that is not your usual way. You express more clearly what you need, and you notice faster when the other person avoids things or does not speak openly. This can create closeness if both of you are willing to be honest, but it can also reveal where you have developed in different directions. The key point is this: you are less willing to simply let things continue if they no longer feel right. If you are single, your perception of encounters changes. You no longer enter connections just because they feel good in the moment. You sense more quickly whether something has substance or not. At the same time, the current energy can bring faster encounters. You may be approached more easily, conversations start more naturally, but this is exactly where it is important to take your time. Not everything that feels intense is meant to last. In your professional life, April brings movement, maybe more than you would like. You notice that structures are changing or that more clarity is expected from you. Decisions are made more quickly, and you have less time to withdraw and think everything through. This can create pressure, especially when you feel like you have to commit before you are truly ready. But this is exactly where your growth lies. You are learning to make decisions without everything being perfectly resolved. This is not easy for you, but it moves you forward. Financially, this dynamic may also appear. Situations may arise where you need to react faster than usual, or you may notice that your priorities are shifting. Here, it is important not to let short-term pressure guide you. If you take a moment and check what truly makes sense, you will make better decisions. A central theme in April is your relationship with inner pressure. You feel that something wants to move, but at the same time, you are cautious. This tension stays with you throughout the month. You don't want to rush, but you also realize that standing still is not an option, and this is where your growth happens. You begin to move differently, not impulsively, but more decisively. Emotionally, something shifts as well. You become clearer in what you feel. You recognize more quickly what burdens you and what supports you. This leads you to set clearer boundaries. You may say things you would have held back before, or step away from situations that no longer feel good. This is not withdrawal out of fear. It is a conscious choice. Around the middle of the month, these themes intensify. Emotions become clearer. Situations reach a peak. You feel like you need to decide. And this is exactly where it is important to trust yourself. You don't need all the answers in advance. You only need clarity about your direction. Another important theme in April is your relationship with expectations. You become more sensitive to what others expect from you. And at the same time, you notice where you no longer want to meet those expectations. This can create tension, especially if people around you are used to a different version of you. But this is where you set boundaries. Not loudly, but clearly. You choose more consciously where you invest your energy. And where you don't, your relationship with time also changes. You become more aware of how you spend your energy. Things that feel empty stand out more strongly. This leads you to reset your priorities. You focus more on what truly matters to you. Another area is your relationship with responsibility. You take on a lot, often more than necessary. But in April, you realize that you no longer want to carry things in the same way. You begin to distinguish what is truly your responsibility and what is not. This relieves you, and it changes your attitude. Toward the end of the month, things become calmer, not because everything externally is resolved, but because you are clearer, you know better what you want, and you use your energy more consciously. Another important theme that becomes clear for you in April is your relationship with inner security. You are someone who does not only seek stability externally, but also emotionally. You quickly notice when something no longer feels right, even if everything still looks the same on the surface. This sensitivity becomes stronger now. You recognize more quickly where you have adapted, even though it no longer truly fits you. And that begins to change your decisions. It is not about changing everything immediately. It is about being honest with yourself. You begin to see the difference between what feels familiar and what actually still belongs to you. This realization is not always comfortable, but it moves you forward. In your interactions with others, you also become clearer. You no longer just listen. You perceive what is truly being said and what is not. You respond more consciously, and you allow yourself to step out of emotional dynamics that may have pulled you in before. This does not mean you become distant. It means you become more aware. You decide more clearly when to open up and when not to. In everyday life, this shows in small changes. You cancel things more quickly when they become too much. You take time for yourself more consciously without needing to justify it, and you realize that this gives you more stability than constantly adapting. Another area that becomes important in April is your relationship with unclear decisions. You will notice that not everything is immediately clear. Some situations develop without giving you a direct answer. In the past, you may have waited or hoped things would resolve on their own. Now, you approach this differently. You observe, you reflect, and then you decide more consciously. This is a significant shift. Your relationship with responsibility also continues to evolve. You have carried a lot for a long time, often things that were not truly yours. In April, you begin to see that you no longer want to do this in the same way. You look more closely what truly belongs to you and what does not. This may lead you to step out of certain roles or reshape them. At first, this may feel unfamiliar, but it brings relief. Emotionally, the month becomes clearer. You no longer react only out of habit, but more consciously. You recognize more quickly what truly touches you and what comes from old patterns. This helps you understand yourself more deeply. And from that understanding, new decisions emerge. As this development settles, you begin to feel more stable. Not because everything is resolved externally, but because you are clearer within yourself. And that is the true shift this month brings. Cancer, this month does not challenge you to overwhelm you. It challenges you so that you become clearer. You are learning to move without losing yourself. And that is exactly what makes you stronger. If reflections like these support you and you want to use them for yourself, feel free to subscribe to the channel.